This video was made thanks to this awesome request. Thank you for the title suggestion, and happy watching.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Curikens. If you're a fan of My Hero Academia, especially awesome fanfiction stories all about Deku, you're definitely in the right place. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow anime fans, and subscribe so you never miss a new upload. Also, if you have an awesome idea or title for the next fanfiction video, drop it in the comment below. I'd love to read your suggestions. And hey, if you want to support the channel even more and keep me extra motivated to create awesome content, consider joining our channel membership. By becoming a member, you'll unlock cool perks like exclusive loyalty badges and custom stickers you can use in the comments. If you've already joined, thank you so much. Your support truly means the world to me and helps keep this channel going. Alright, let's get right into the story.
Rain poured over Musudafu. Drip, drip, drip. Izuku Midoriya walked alone beneath the gray sky. His school uniform was soaked. His notebook rested inside his bag, protected only by a thin plastic cover. His thoughts remained occupied by the same words spoken earlier that day. You can't become a hero without a quirk. The doctor's voice echoed inside his mind. He lowered his head. I understand. Even after years of training his body. Even after studying hundreds of heroes. Reality refused to change. He was quirkless. People passed by without paying attention. Children laughed. Heroes rushed across rooftops. Sirens echoed somewhere in the city. Izuku quietly entered a narrow alley to avoid the crowded streets. Then, help! A weak voice reached his ears. Izuku immediately stopped. Someone's there. He ran deeper into the alley. Behind several broken wooden crates lay an old man. His clothes were torn. His white hair covered part of his face. Blood slowly dripped from a wound on his forehead. Several street thugs had apparently robbed him before fleeing. Izuku immediately knelt. Are you all right? The old man slowly opened one eye. You came. Izuku quickly removed his jacket and pressed it against the wound. Please don't move. I'll call an ambulance. The old man suddenly grabbed Izuku's wrist. His grip was surprisingly strong. There isn't enough time. Izuku blinked. What? The old man slowly smiled. I've searched for many years. And now, I've finally found someone. Izuku looked confused. Sir. The old man slowly raised his trembling right hand. Wrapped around it were countless ancient seals glowing with faint golden light. Crack. Small pieces of stone fell from the strange arm. Izuku's eyes widened. What is that? The old man chuckled. A blessing. And a curse. Golden energy slowly flowed between the seals. This arm is called the God Hand. Boom. The air inside the alley suddenly trembled. Dust rose from the ground. The walls vibrated. Izuku instinctively stepped back. God Hand. The old man nodded. Long ago, a fallen god entrusted this power to mankind. Many sought it. Few survived it. None mastered it. Izuku looked at the glowing arm. Why are you showing me this? The old man smiled again. Because it chose you. Before Izuku could answer, the golden seals shattered. Crack. Blinding light exploded across the alley. Boom. Izuku raised both arms to shield his eyes. Ah. Golden chains burst apart. The legendary right arm detached from the old man's body. It floated into the air. Whoosh. Countless glowing symbols surrounded it. The old man's body rapidly became younger for only a brief second. Before turning into golden particles. Take it, and punch evil. Those were his final words. The old man disappeared completely. Izuku froze. He vanished. The floating arm slowly turned toward him. Before he could react, whoosh, it flew directly toward his right shoulder. Wait. Boom. Golden lightning erupted. Crack. Izuku screamed. Ah. The arm merged perfectly with his own. Countless streams of energy raced through his body. His heartbeat accelerated. Boom, boom, boom. His vision blurred. Strange memories flooded his mind. A man defeating demons with impossible punches. Enemies flying across mountains. Absurd martial arts. Laughter during battle. A glowing roulette wheel spinning endlessly. The memories disappeared as quickly as they came. Silence returned. Izuku slowly opened his eyes. His breathing remained heavy. What? He looked at his right arm. It appeared completely normal. Until golden markings briefly flashed beneath his skin. Whoosh. They disappeared instantly. Was that real? He slowly clenched his fist. The moment his fingers closed. Boom. A powerful shockwave erupted from his hand. The nearby brick wall exploded into dust. Crack. Pieces of concrete flew across the alley. Izuku stared at the destruction. I only made a fist. His heart raced. He looked at his unharmed hand. This power. Then, a deep voice echoed inside his mind. God hand synchronization complete. New successor confirmed. Divine compatibility. 100%. Welcome, bearer of the God hand. Izuku looked around in panic. Who said that? No one answered. Instead, a glowing golden symbol briefly appeared on the back of his right hand. Then vanished. The rain finally stopped. Sunlight broke through the clouds. Outside the alley, people continued their daily lives, completely unaware that the legendary power of the God Hand had awakened once again. And somewhere else in Musudafu, a grotesque sludge villain escaped from police pursuit while searching for its next victim. Its path was already moving toward a certain explosive blonde teenager, and toward the green-haired boy whose right hand now carried the strength of a fallen god. Morning arrived. Musudafu returned to its usual rhythm. People hurried toward work. Students filled the sidewalks. Heroes patrolled the streets. Izuku quietly walked toward school. His right hand remained inside his pocket. He had barely slept. Every few minutes, he secretly clenched his fist. Each time, a faint golden glow appeared beneath his skin. The power was real. God Hand, he whispered. What exactly are you? Before any answer came, an enormous explosion echoed nearby. Boom. People screamed. Smoke rose between the buildings. Another explosion followed. Boom. Everyone immediately fled. Villain. Run. Izuku instinctively ran toward the disturbance. When he arrived, his eyes widened. A gigantic sludge monster blocked the street. Cars had been overturned. Storefront windows shattered. Police officers surrounded the area. Their attacks accomplished nothing. The sludge villain laughed. You're all useless. Inside its body, a familiar blonde teenager struggled desperately. Damn. Bakugo Katsuki. The slime completely restrained him. He couldn't even breathe properly. Heroes continued attacking. Water, ice, wind. None worked. The sludge simply regenerated. A nearby hero clenched his fists. We can't get close. Another hero shouted. His hostage is preventing us from using stronger attacks. The crowd watched helplessly. Then, a powerful gust of wind swept across the street. Whoosh. All Might arrived. People immediately cheered. All Might. He's here. All Might landed before the monster. Boom. He looked exhausted. His breathing sounded unusually heavy. Still, he smiled. Never fear. Because I am here. The sludge villain laughed. Too late. It tightened around Bakugo. Bakugo coughed violently. All Might prepared to charge. Then, he hesitated. His body suddenly weakened. Small streams of steam escaped his muscles. He quietly clenched his teeth. Not now. Izuku noticed everything. He's losing strength. The heroes remained frozen. Nobody could safely approach. Bakugo's desperate eyes searched everywhere. Then, they met Izuku's. Don't. Bakugo tried to speak. Izuku's feet moved before he realized it. He ran. Kid. A hero shouted. Stop. Izuku ignored them. He sprinted straight toward the monster. The sludge villain laughed. Another child. Perfect. A massive arm of slime swung toward him. Whoosh. Izuku instinctively raised his right hand. Leave him alone. Smack. It wasn't even a punch. It was just a reflexive slap. The moment his palm touched the slime. Boom. A colossal golden shockwave erupted across the street. The air exploded. Every nearby window shattered. Crack. Cars flipped over. Dust engulfed the battlefield. The enormous sludge villain screamed. Grah. Its entire body exploded apart. Boom. Countless pieces of slime scattered through the air. The monster completely lost its shape. Bakugo fell toward the ground. Before he landed, All Might caught him. Whoosh. Silence. Everyone stared. The smoke slowly cleared. Izuku remained standing. His right arm still extended. Golden sparks danced around his fingers. Then slowly faded away. Izuku blinked. I slapped him. One police officer slowly lowered his weapon. What? Another hero looked completely stunned. Did that kid just defeat the villain? The scattered slime desperately tried to reform. Before it could, All Might punched forward. Boom. The remaining sludge dispersed completely. This time, the villain was finally defeated. Cheers erupted throughout the street. People applauded. Others simply stared at the green-haired teenager. Bakugo slowly stood. His face remained covered with slime. He looked directly at Izuku. Deku. What the hell was that? Izuku awkwardly scratched his head. I don't know. All Might quietly approached. His sharp eyes examined Izuku's right arm. He had witnessed countless quirks. None resembled that attack. Young man, what is your quirk? Izuku hesitated. Before he answered, the strange voice echoed once more inside his mind. First battle completed. God hand synchronization increased. New technique unlocked. A glowing roulette wheel suddenly appeared before Izuku's eyes. It slowly spun in the air. Click, click, click. Its symbols flashed one after another. God punch. Ball buster. Home run. Dragon kick. Izuku froze. Only I can see this. The wheel stopped. Ding. New move acquired. God punch. The glowing wheel disappeared. Izuku quietly looked at his right fist. Another technique. All Might noticed his expiration. Is something wrong? Izuku quickly shook his head. N number. I'm fine. All Might smiled kindly. Whatever power you possess, you used it to save someone. Remember that. Izuku nodded. Yes. As ambulances arrived and the crowd slowly dispersed, nobody realized that the legendary God Hand had already begun revealing its true arsenal. And the first technique had finally awakened. The morning after the sludge villain incident, Izuku woke before sunrise. He immediately looked at his right hand. Nothing seemed unusual. His fingers moved normally. His arm looked completely human. Was yesterday real? He slowly clenched his fist. Whoosh. Golden markings briefly appeared beneath his skin. A warm energy spread through his body. It wasn't a dream. He quietly slipped out of the house before his mother woke up. A few minutes later, he arrived at an abandoned construction site outside Musudafu. Broken concrete, rusted steel beams, collapsed walls. The perfect place to test his new power. Izuku took a deep breath. Okay, let's see what this God Hand can do. He raised his right fist. Before throwing a punch, the mysterious voice echoed inside his mind again. God Hand system activated. Whoosh. A glowing golden roulette wheel materialized before him. It slowly rotated in the air. Click, click, click. Dozens of strange symbols passed before his eyes. God punch. Home run. Dragon kick. Ball buster. Spank. Uppercut. Head slicer. Charged punch. Izuku stared in amazement. These are fighting techniques. The wheel stopped spinning. Ding. Available techniques. God Punch. Home Run. Dragon Kick. Energy Reserve. Sufficient. I can choose. He reached toward the glowing wheel. The symbol for God Punch lit up. Ding. God Punch selected. Golden energy immediately gathered around his right fist. Whoosh. Izuku instinctively stepped forward. Here goes. He threw a straight punch toward a massive block of reinforced concrete. Boom. The impact created a circular shockwave. Dust exploded everywhere. Crack. The concrete block shattered into hundreds of pieces. Fragments flew across the construction site. Several nearby steel beams bent from the pressure alone. Izuku stared at the destruction. That was only one punch. His heart raced. Incredible. The roulette wheel appeared again. Click. This time, the glowing light stopped on another symbol. Home Run. Ding. Technique selected. Izuku blinked. Home Run. What does that even mean? He noticed an abandoned steel pipe lying nearby. He picked it up. Maybe. He lightly swung the pipe. Whoosh. Nothing happened. Then, golden energy suddenly wrapped around the pipe. Wait. Before he finished speaking, an old refrigerator sat several meters away. Izuku instinctively swung. Smack. Boom. The refrigerator launched into the sky like a baseball. It disappeared into the clouds. 5 seconds later. Boom. A distant mountain echoed from the impact. Birds immediately flew into the air. Izuku slowly lowered the pipe. That's ridiculous. The roulette wheel spun again. Click, click, ding. Dragon Kick selected. Golden energy surrounded both legs. Izuku slowly stepped backward. This one uses kicks. He rushed toward another concrete pillar. Hyah. He jumped. His right leg swung downward. Boom. A massive golden dragon-shaped shockwave erupted from his kick. Roar. The energy dragon crashed into the pillar. Boom. The entire structure exploded. The shockwave continued traveling. 3 more pillars collapsed instantly. Crack, crack, crack. Half the abandoned construction site shook violently. Dust filled the air. Izuku landed safely. His eyes widened. That wasn't even a direct hit. He looked at both of his legs. The attack traveled. The mysterious voice returned once more. Combat proficiency increased. New function unlocked. Roulette customization available. More symbols suddenly appeared. Ball Buster. Spank. Head Slicer. Divine Uppercut. Izuku blinked several times. Spank. Seriously. That's an actual technique. The roulette wheel remained completely silent. Whoever created this had a strange sense of humor. He couldn't help laughing. Still, if they're all this powerful. He slowly looked toward the ruined construction site. Almost everything nearby had been destroyed. Only 3 practice techniques, and the entire area looked like it had been struck by artillery. Izuku quietly smiled. I'm getting stronger. He closed the roulette wheel. Whoosh. It disappeared. Unknown to him. From a nearby rooftop, a tall man wrapped in a yellow sleeping bag had silently watched the entire training session. Shota Aizawa slowly lowered his scarf. Interesting. His tired eyes remained fixed on the green-haired boy. That definitely wasn't a quirk I've ever seen. Without making a sound, he disappeared into the morning shadows. Whoosh. While below, Izuku happily walked home, completely unaware that his future homeroom teacher had already witnessed the beginning of the legend known as the God Hand. Weeks passed. Izuku trained every morning before school. God Punch. Home Run. Dragon Kick. Each technique became smoother. His control improved rapidly. The roulette wheel also became faster. New techniques occasionally appeared, although many remained locked. One morning, a familiar envelope arrived. A high school entrance examination. Izuku smiled. It's finally here. The examination day arrived. Thousands of applicants gathered outside A. Some proudly displayed flashy quirks. Others strutted while preparing themselves. Izuku quietly stood among them. His green hero costume had not been completed yet. Instead, he wore simple training clothes. His right hand rested inside his pocket. Stay calm. Inside the examination hall, Present Mike jumped onto the stage. Good morning, future heroes. The students cheered. Today's exam is simple. Destroy as many robots as possible. The bigger the robot, the more points. He explained every rule enthusiastically. Izuku listened carefully. Then, the massive entrance gate slowly opened. Creak. Present Mike raised one hand. Begin. Boom. Hundreds of students rushed forward. Explosions echoed immediately. Boom. 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 Bakugo blasted ahead. Todoroki froze several robots with enormous waves of ice. Ida sprinted through the streets. Uraraka carefully searched for easier targets. Izuku calmly walked forward. Let's start. The first one-pointer noticed him. Its mechanical arm swung downward. Whoosh. Izuku sidestepped effortlessly. He raised his right fist. God punch. Golden light covered his arm. Boom. One punch. The robot exploded into thousands of metal fragments. Ding. 1 point. Izuku blinked. Easy. 3 more robots surrounded him. 2 one-pointers. 1 two-pointer. They attacked together. Whoosh. The roulette wheel suddenly appeared. Click. Click. Ding. Dragon kick selected. Golden energy surrounded his legs. Izuku smiled. Perfect. He jumped high. Dragon kick. Boom. A gigantic golden dragon-shaped shockwave burst forward. Roar. The energy dragon crashed through the street. The 3 robots exploded instantly. Boom. 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 The shockwave continued for another 100 meters. Dozens of nearby robots were caught in the attack. Metal debris rained everywhere. Ding. 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 Points rapidly increased. Students stopped fighting. What was that? Who launched that attack? Bakugo looked toward the explosion. Deku. Todoroki narrowed his eyes. Interesting. Izuku continued running. Robots appeared everywhere. Every punch destroyed one. Every kick erased several more. He never received a single scratch. Minutes later, warning sirens echoed across the battlefield. Weo. Weo. Present Mike's voice echoed from loudspeakers. Look out. The 0-pointer has entered the battlefield. Boom. 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 The enormous robot stepped into the city. Its massive shadow covered entire streets. Many students immediately fled. Run. That thing isn't worth points. Uraraka tripped while escaping. Ah. A massive piece of broken highway collapsed toward her. Crack. Izuku immediately looked up. Someone's trapped. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward the gigantic machine. The 0-pointer turned. Its enormous foot descended. Boom. The street shattered. Izuku slid beneath the attack. His eyes focused on Uraraka. Hold on. The roulette wheel suddenly spun wildly. Click. 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 Golden light exploded from the symbols. Then, everything stopped. Ding. New technique temporarily unlocked. Shaolin kick. Izuku blinked. Shaolin kick. Golden flames erupted around his body. Whoosh. His muscles immediately felt lighter. Faster. Stronger. Before he realized it, another notification appeared. God charge available. God charge. His instincts answered before his thoughts. Activate. Boom. Brilliant golden energy erupted around his body. Lightning danced across his skin. Crack. His clothes fluttered wildly. The pressure alone shattered the nearby pavement. Students stared in disbelief. He's glowing. What kind of quirk is that? Izuku bent his knees. Shaolin kick. Boom. He disappeared. The street beneath him exploded. The next instant, he appeared directly before the 0-pointer's head. His right leg glowed brighter than the sun. Hyah. Boom. His kick never physically touched the robot. A massive golden shockwave erupted from several meters away. The invisible force struck the zero-pointer. Crack. Its head collapsed instantly. Then, its chest, its arms, its legs. The gigantic machine shattered from top to bottom. Boom. The enormous robot exploded into countless pieces. Metal rained across the city. Its upper half flew hundreds of meters before crashing into abandoned buildings. Silence covered the battlefield. Every student froze. Bakugo stared upward. One kick. Todoroki quietly lowered his eyes. Without contact. Ida adjusted his glasses. That attack was unbelievable. Izuku landed safely. The golden aura slowly disappeared. He immediately ran toward Uraraka. Are you all right? Uraraka looked at him with wide eyes. Why yes. You saved me. Izuku smiled awkwardly. Good. High above the battlefield, inside the observation room, Nezu quietly sipped his tea. Remarkable. All Might smiled proudly. Young Midoriya, recovery girl, looked confused. His body isn't damaged. Power Loader frowned. He released that much force without breaking a single bone. Aizawa quietly watched the recording. His tired eyes remained fixed on Izuku's glowing right arm. That power erasure won't affect it. Below, the examination timer finally reached 0. Beep. Present Mike's voice echoed once again. Exam finished. Students slowly looked toward the destroyed zero-pointer. Then toward the quiet green-haired boy standing beside the smiling girl he had rescued. For the first time, Izuku Midoriya had entered the spotlight. Not as a quirkless boy, but as the mysterious fighter whose divine right arm had shattered the impossible with a single kick. The acceptance letters arrived 1 week later. Izuku carefully opened the envelope. Inside, a small holographic projector activated. Whoosh! All Might appeared on the screen. Young Midoriya, congratulations. You have passed the entrance examination. Confetti exploded around the hologram. Pop! Izuku smiled widely. I made it. His mother hugged him tightly. Tears streamed down her face. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Mom. Several days later, High school. Class 1A gathered inside their classroom. Students introduced themselves one after another. Bakugo sat silently. Todoroki leaned against the window. Uraraka happily waved toward Izuku. Before anyone continued, the classroom door opened. Creak. A tired-looking man entered while wrapped inside a yellow sleeping bag. I'm Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher. The classroom became completely silent. Follow me. Physical assessment. Minutes later, training field beta. Students changed into their training uniforms. Aizawa stood before the class holding a softball. The entrance exam measured potential. Today I measure reality. He looked around calmly. The student with the lowest overall score. Everyone held their breath. Will be expelled. Shock spread across the field. What? Seriously? Aizawa remained expressionless. Welcome to you. The tests immediately began. 50-meter sprint. Grip strength. Standing long jump. Side steps. Every student demonstrated their quirks. Bakugo exploded forward. Todoroki froze part of the field. Iida became a blur. Izuku quietly completed every event using only his own physical ability. His results remained surprisingly high. Bakugo noticed. Deku, you're hiding something. Izuku simply smiled. Maybe. Event after event passed. Finally, the softball throw remained. Aizawa tossed the ball toward Izuku. Midoriya, show me everything. Izuku caught the ball. Yes. Aizawa's tired eyes narrowed. And this time, I'll erase your quirk first. His hair suddenly floated upward. Red energy filled his eyes. Whoosh. Erasure activated. The surrounding students watched carefully. There it is. Aizawa's quirk. Izuku quietly felt nothing. His right hand remained warm. The golden markings beneath his skin continued glowing. Inside his mind, the mysterious voice calmly spoke. Foreign interference detected. Divine authority recognized. Erasure rejected. Izuku blinked. Rejected. Aizawa frowned. What? His quirk continued activating. He focused harder. His eyes became bloodshot. Erase. Nothing happened. The golden energy inside Izuku remained exactly the same. Aizawa slowly lowered his scarf. Impossible. He had erased countless quirks. Mutation. Emitter. Transformation. Every type responded. Except this one. Izuku carefully looked at his right hand. It's still here. The roulette wheel suddenly appeared. Click. Click. Ding. God Punch available. Home Run available. Dragon Kick available. God Charge available. Izuku quietly smiled. Good. Aizawa finally spoke. Throw the ball. Izuku nodded. He lightly bounced the softball once. Tap. He chose not to activate God Charge. Instead, he quietly selected another technique. Ding. God Punch. Golden energy flowed into his shoulder. Izuku pulled his arm backward. Here I go. He threw. Boom. The softball disappeared instantly. A circular shockwave exploded around him. Dust rose into the air. Students instinctively covered their faces. Whoosh. The digital monitor rapidly calculated. 100 meters. 500 meters. 2 kilometers. 20 kilometers. 50 kilometers. The numbers continued climbing. Everyone stared. Is it broken? The screen finally stopped. Distance. 2,847.6 kilometers. Complete silence. Bakugo's eyes widened. You're kidding. Uraraka covered her mouth. That's... Iida adjusted his glasses several times. That exceeds every recorded student result. Todoroki quietly looked toward Izuku. Interesting. Aizawa stared at the monitor. Then at Izuku. Then back at the monitor. My erasure didn't work. He slowly walked toward Izuku. Explain. Izuku hesitated. I honestly don't know everything. I received this power recently. It isn't a quirk. Those final words immediately caught everyone's attention. Not a quirk. Aizawa frowned. Then what is it? Izuku slowly looked at his right hand. It's called the God Hand. Silence returned. Nobody laughed. The overwhelming results spoke for themselves. Aizawa quietly remembered what he had witnessed weeks earlier at the abandoned construction site. The glowing arm. The impossible punches. The techniques. Everything finally connected. So that's what it was. He sighed deeply. What a troublesome student. Despite his words, a faint smile briefly appeared on his face before disappearing again. Continue the test. The remaining events finished quickly. When every score had been recorded, Aizawa looked at the class. About the expulsion, everyone became nervous again. Then, he casually placed the clipboard under his arm. That was a lie. It was a logical deception. The class erupted. What? Seriously? Bakugo shouted. You old jerk. Aizawa ignored the complaints. Instead, his gaze quietly settled on Izuku one last time. A power beyond quirks. A force untouched by erasure. And a mysterious right arm carrying techniques unlike anything recorded in Hero Society. For the first time in years, Shota Aizawa encountered a student whose strength completely escaped his understanding. A few days after the quirk assessment, Class 1A gathered inside Training Ground Gamma. The massive indoor city was filled with buildings, narrow streets, and concrete obstacles. All Might stood proudly before the class. Today's lesson is hero versus villain combat. The students immediately became excited. All Might continued. Real battles happen indoors. Your mission is to either protect or capture. He smiled. You'll work in teams. Large monitors displayed the matchups. Heroes. Izuku Midoriya. Ochako Uraraka. Villains. Katsuki Bakugo. Tenya Iida. Bakugo immediately smirked. Perfect. His eyes locked onto Izuku. I finally get to beat you. Izuku smiled awkwardly. Please don't destroy the building. Bakugo cracked his knuckles. Too late. Inside the mock city, Iida guarded the mock nuclear device. Bakugo stood near the entrance. His explosions echoed throughout the building. Boom. Come out. Deku. Outside, Izuku and Uraraka quietly approached. Uraraka whispered, "What's the plan?" Izuku scratched his cheek. "Honestly, walk in. That's it. Pretty much." Before Uraraka could answer, boom. The front wall exploded. Bakugo burst through the smoke. "Found you." Massive explosions erupted from both hands. Boom. 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 The street vanished beneath endless blasts. Uraraka jumped backward. Izuku. Izuku calmly stepped forward. His right hand remained inside his pocket. Bakugo laughed. "Don't tell me you're scared." He fired another explosion. Boom. The blazing shockwave rushed straight toward Izuku. At the last moment, Izuku slowly raised his right hand. Slap. Boom. The explosion instantly dispersed. Golden shockwaves scattered the flames into the sky. Bakugo's eyes widened. Again, Izuku casually shook his hand. That tingled a little. Bakugo growled. "Don't mock me." Boom. He launched himself forward. His right fist aimed directly at Izuku's face. Whoosh. Izuku calmly leaned sideways. The punch missed by centimeters. Bakugo immediately spun. His kick followed. Whoosh. Izuku ducked beneath it. Another explosion erupted. Boom. Izuku casually stepped aside. Every attack missed. Every explosion struck empty air. Bakugo became more frustrated with every second. "Stand still." Izuku scratched his head. "You're really energetic today." Inside the observation room, Kirishima stared at the screen. "He isn't even attacking." Mina blinked. "He's just dodging." Suyu nodded. "His movements are really smooth." All Might smiled proudly. "Excellent reflexes." Bakugo roared. "Enough." He fired a point-blank explosion. Boom. Smoke completely engulfed Izuku. The class watched silently. Then, whoosh. The smoke split apart. Izuku walked out completely unharmed. His clothes didn't even have burn marks. Bakugo froze. "How?" Izuku smiled sheepishly. "Your timing is easy to read." The roulette wheel suddenly appeared before his eyes. Click, 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 ding. New technique available. Spank. Izuku blinked. Seriously. Another notification appeared. Recommended move selected. Why this one? The wheel disappeared. Bakugo charged again. Die. Boom. He flew straight toward Izuku. Izuku sighed. "Sorry." He sidestepped. Then, smack. His glowing right hand lightly smacked Bakugo across the backside. Complete silence. Everyone stared. Bakugo froze in midair. A tiny golden shockwave erupted. Hop. Bakugo launched forward like a cannonball. Boom. He crashed through 3 concrete walls. Then another. Then another. Crack. Dust filled the entire building. Inside the observation room, nobody spoke. Then, Mina burst into laughter. "PFFFT." He slapped him. Kaminari immediately collapsed onto the floor laughing. Not even his face. Kirishima held his stomach. That was manly. And embarrassing. Even Todoroki blinked twice. Interesting technique. All Might coughed into his fist. Ahem. Effective. Aizawa slowly pinched the bridge of his nose. What kind of fighting style is that? Deep inside the ruined hallway, Bakugo slowly stood. Pieces of concrete fell around him. His face was completely red. "Deku, I'll kill you." Boom. His explosions became even larger. He rushed forward once again. This time, Izuku decided to stop holding back. Golden light surrounded his right arm. Whoosh. God punch. Boom. One straight punch collided with Bakugo's explosion. The resulting shockwave blasted outward. Windows shattered. Doors flew off their hinges. Bakugo's explosion disappeared instantly. He was blown backward across the hallway. Boom. He rolled several times before stopping against a reinforced wall. The wall cracked behind him. Bakugo slowly looked up. My explosion. Lost. Izuku walked over calmly. He offered his hand. Are you okay? Bakugo slapped the offered hand away. Don't pity me. Never. Before anything else happened, Ida's voice echoed from another floor. The objective. Protect the objective. Uraraka smiled. Right. She floated upward through a broken ceiling. While Bakugo remained distracted, she reached the mock nuclear device. Beep. The timer stopped. Present Mike's voice echoed throughout the training facility. Match over. Heroes win. Cheers erupted inside the observation room. All Might proudly looked toward the victorious pair. Excellent teamwork. Aizawa quietly watched Izuku lower his glowing right hand. One slap, one punch, and one explosive prodigy had been completely overwhelmed by a fighting style that looked more like a street brawl than professional hero combat. For the first time, Class 1A truly understood why the mysterious power carried by Izuku was called the God Hand. The days after battle training passed quickly. Word about Izuku's strange fighting style spread across UA. Students from other classes whispered whenever he walked through the hallways. That's him. The guy who slapped Bakugo through 3 walls. I heard he destroyed the zero-pointer with one kick. His right arm glows. Izuku simply smiled awkwardly whenever someone looked at him. It's becoming embarrassing. During lunch, Class 1A gathered in the cafeteria. Kirishima suddenly sat beside Izuku. Midoriya, teach me that punch. Izuku laughed nervously. I don't think I can. Kaminari leaned forward. What about that slap? Absolutely not. Mina giggled. You're already famous. Zero pointed toward another table. Look. Students from Class 1B secretly watched Izuku. One of them whispered. That's the green guy. Another nodded. The one with the golden arm. Izuku quietly sighed. Why? Before anyone continued, the cafeteria doors suddenly burst open. Boom. A third-year student sprinted inside. Villain. There's a villain near the front gate. Chairs immediately scraped across the floor. Students stood. Teachers rushed outside. Aizawa calmly walked toward the entrance. Everyone remain inside. Izuku looked toward the window. Outside, a large villain wearing heavy steel armor smashed through the front gate. Boom. Security robots were sent flying. Teachers nearby immediately engaged him. Smintos raised stone walls. Boom. The armored villain shattered them with one punch. Midnight attempted to use her quirk. The villain's gas mask blocked it completely. Present Mike fired a powerful sound blast. Boom. The armored giant barely moved. He laughed loudly. Isn't so impressive. Students watched nervously from inside. Kirishima clenched his fists. He's strong. Bakugo smirked. Finally. Before anyone could rush outside, Aizawa's voice echoed. Students stay back. His erasure activated. The villain blinked. My quirk. Still works. Aizawa frowned. Mutation type. The giant charged. Boom. His massive fist struck toward Aizawa. Whoosh. Aizawa dodged. His capture scarf wrapped around the villain. The armored man simply tore through it. Crack. Too much raw strength. Inside the building, Izuku quietly watched. His right hand began glowing. I should help. Uraraka looked worried. But Aizawa said, boom. Another explosion shook the entrance. Part of the security wall collapsed. Students instinctively stepped backward. Izuku smiled softly. I'll make it quick. Before anyone stopped him, he walked outside. Bakugo crossed his arms. About time. The armored villain laughed after noticing the green-haired teenager. They're sending children now. Izuku scratched his cheek. Actually, I'm just a first year. Even better. The giant rushed forward. Boom. Every step shattered the pavement. His enormous fist descended. Whoosh. Izuku calmly caught it with his right hand. Clap. The impact stopped instantly. The villain's eyes widened. What? He pushed harder. His muscles bulged. Nothing moved. Izuku remained standing comfortably. You're pretty strong. The villain roared. Move. Izuku smiled. Okay. He gently pushed. Tap. Boom. The armored giant flew backward. He skipped across the ground like a stone over water. Crack. Boom. Crack. He smashed through several concrete barriers before finally stopping upside down inside a fountain. Complete silence followed. Students stared through the cafeteria windows. He pushed him. With one hand. The villain struggled back onto his feet. Impossible. He charged again. This time, Izuku's roulette wheel appeared. Click, click, ding. New technique unlocked. Launch kick. Izuku blinked. Another one. The villain swung both fists. Boom. Izuku spun. His right leg glowed bright gold. Launch kick. Boom. His kick landed against the villain's chest. Instead of exploding, a powerful upward shockwave erupted. Whoosh. The armored villain shot straight into the sky. He became a tiny dot above the clouds. Everyone looked upward. 5 seconds passed. Then, boom. The giant landed several kilometers away inside the empty training fields. A distant cloud of dust rose into the air. Students remained completely speechless. President Mike slowly lowered his microphone. That's the cleanest knockout I've ever seen. Smintos quietly nodded. Minimal damage. Midnight smiled. Very stylish. Aizawa looked toward Izuku. You ignored my order. Izuku immediately bowed. Sorry. The entrance gate was collapsing. Aizawa remained silent. After several seconds, he sighed. Next time, inform me first. Yes, sir. At that moment, a group of support course students hurried toward the damaged entrance. One of them looked at Izuku in amazement. That's him. Another grinned. The green guy with the golden hand. A third student laughed. He threw that villain out like a nightclub bouncer. The nickname spread almost instantly. The bouncer of U.A. The green bouncer. The guy with the golden hand. Within a single afternoon, students across the campus began calling Izuku by a new title. The bouncer of U.A. Izuku rubbed the back of his head awkwardly. That's a strange nickname. Hiroshima laughed loudly. Nah, it fits perfectly. Even Bakugo snorted. Idiot. At least they're not calling you useless anymore. For the first time since entering U.A., Izuku realized something had changed. People no longer looked at him as the quirkless boy who chased impossible dreams. They looked at him as the student whose legendary right hand could send any villain flying with a single ridiculous strike. The next week, Class 1A gathered outside a massive dome-shaped facility. The USJ, the unforeseen simulation joint, 13 stood proudly before the entrance. Today we'll practice disaster rescue. The students looked around excitedly. Massive flood zones, collapsed buildings, burning city blocks, landslide areas. The entire facility simulated real disasters. Izuku quietly admired everything. This place is incredible. Before anyone entered, Aizawa glanced toward the class. Don't rely only on your quirks. His eyes briefly stopped on Izuku. Or mysterious powers. Izuku smiled awkwardly. Yes, sir. Inside the USJ, 13 began explaining the training schedule. Many quirks can save lives. But they can also take lives. The students listened carefully. Suddenly, a dark purple mist appeared at the center of the plaza. Whoosh. The air became cold. Black lightning crackled. Crack. Kaminari frowned. Is that part of the lesson? Hiroshima smiled. Looks realistic. Aizawa immediately stepped forward. Everyone, stay back. Boom. The purple mist expanded. Dozens, then hundreds, of villains slowly emerged. Armed criminals, mutant villains, giant monsters, masked mercenaries. The entire plaza filled with enemies. Students froze. Shigaraki slowly stepped out from the mist. His hands covered his face. Found them. Beside him, Kurogiri floated calmly. Welcome to the USJ. 13 whispered. Real villains. Aizawa immediately removed his capture scarf. Class, run. Leave this place immediately. Shigaraki laughed softly. Too late. Kurogiri spread both arms. Whoosh. Purple portals opened beneath the students. Scatter. The class was instantly separated. Izuku felt the ground disappear beneath him. Whoa. Whoosh. He fell through darkness. Seconds later. Boom. He landed inside the flood zone. Water splashed everywhere. Nearby, Tsuyu and Mineta also landed. Ribbit. Everyone okay? Izuku nodded. I'm fine. Before anyone relaxed, dozens of villains emerged from broken boats. 3 students. Easy targets. They surrounded the trio. Metal pipes, chains, knives, all pointed toward them. Mineta immediately panicked. We're dead. Tsuyu prepared herself. There are too many. Izuku quietly stepped forward. I'll handle this. One villain laughed. Look at this kid. Another swung a steel bat. Whoosh. Izuku caught it effortlessly. Clap. Nice swing. Crack. The bat instantly snapped in half. The villains stared. What? More criminals rushed together. Get him. Boom. Izuku sighed. All right. The roulette wheel appeared before his eyes. Click, click, click. Dozens of techniques flashed past. God punch. Home run. Dragon kick. Spank. Launch kick. Then, ding. New technique unlocked. Dragon kick X. Izuku blinked. That sounds stronger. The notification continued. God roulette activated. The golden wheel suddenly expanded. It spun rapidly. Click, click, click. Golden sparks surrounded Izuku's right arm. His heartbeat accelerated. Boom. Here goes. Golden flames erupted around his body. Whoosh. He dashed forward. The villains barely saw him move. Boom. One punch sent 3 criminals flying. Crack. Another kick launched 5 more across the lake. Boom. A spinning elbow knocked another villain through a concrete pillar. The remaining criminals hesitated. He's alone. Attack together. More than 50 villains charged. Izuku smiled. Perfect. The roulette wheel stopped. Ding. Dragon kick X selected. Golden energy gathered around his legs. Then, a gigantic dragon-shaped aura formed behind him. Roar. The dragon opened its jaws. Tsuyu stared in amazement. That's huge. Izuku jumped. Dragon kick X. Boom. His glowing kick struck empty air. The dragon-shaped shockwave surged forward. Roar. The golden dragon swept across the flood zone. Boats shattered. Waves split apart. Concrete bridges cracked. Dozens of villains were launched high into the sky. Ah, help. I'm flying. Boom. 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 They landed across multiple rescue zones throughout the USJ. Complete silence followed. The flood zone had become completely empty. Only floating debris remained. Mineta slowly pointed forward. One attack. Tsuyu blinked twice. Ribbit. That was impressive. Izuku scratched his cheek. Maybe I used too much power. Far away, inside the central plaza, Shigaraki noticed dozens of unconscious villains raining from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. They crashed around him. He slowly looked upward. What? One battered villain weakly raised a hand. Green kid, dragon. He fainted. Shigaraki's fingers twitched. Interesting. That student is stronger than the report suggested. Beside him, Kurogiri calmly spoke. Should I relocate more forces? Shigaraki slowly smiled beneath his hands. Yes, send everyone. I want to meet him personally. High above the USJ, golden energy slowly faded around Izuku. The villains had entered the facility expecting frightened students. Instead, One green-haired first-year carrying the legendary God Hand had already turned an entire rescue zone into a one-sided street brawl. The USJ had become a battlefield. Explosions echoed from every rescue zone. Boom. Heroes and villains clashed without pause. Inside the flood zone, Izuku, Tsuyu, and Mineta quickly made their way back toward the central plaza. Smoke rose everywhere. Collapsed buildings filled the landscape. We have to help Aizawa. Izuku accelerated. Whoosh. Minutes later, they arrived at the center of the USJ. What they saw made everyone freeze. Aizawa stood alone. His capture scarf whipped through the air. Boom. Boom. Villains continued falling around him. Dozens already lay unconscious. His breathing, however, had become heavier. Blood slowly dripped from his forehead. Still standing. Then, a gigantic figure stepped forward. Gray skin, black beak, massive muscles. Its empty eyes stared directly at Aizawa. Nomu. Shigaraki smiled. Our masterpiece. Kill him. Rawr. Nomu disappeared. Boom. It instantly appeared before Aizawa. Its fist descended. Boom. Aizawa barely blocked with his scarf. The impact launched him across the plaza. Crack. He crashed through several broken pillars before stopping. Blood stained the ground. Izuku's eyes widened. Sensei. He immediately rushed forward. Shigaraki slowly turned toward him. So, you're the student who defeated dozens of my men. Izuku stood between Aizawa and Nomu. Leave my teacher alone. Shigaraki tilted his head. Interesting. Nomu. Break him. Rawr. Nomu charged again. Its enormous fist created a sonic boom. Boom. Izuku stepped forward instead of backward. God punch. Golden light exploded around his right arm. Whoosh. Both fists collided. Boom. The shockwave blasted across the USJ. Glass shattered. Concrete cracked. The surrounding villains were thrown backward. Everyone stared. Nomu had stopped. Its gigantic arm trembled. For the first time, its charge had been completely halted. Shigaraki narrowed his eyes. What? Nomu growled. Rawr. It swung its other fist. Boom. Izuku ducked beneath it. He delivered another punch into Nomu's ribs. Boom. The bio-engineered monster slid backward several meters. Deep cracks spread across its gray skin. Kurogiri looked surprised. Damage. Nomu should possess shock absorption. Izuku quietly looked at his glowing fist. It still hurt him. Inside his mind, the mysterious voice calmly spoke. Durability negation activated. Divine attacks ignore physical defense. Izuku blinked. Ignore defense. Nomu roared once again. Rawr. Its muscles expanded. It rushed forward even faster. Boom. Its kick shattered the ground. Izuku sidestepped. Whoosh. Another punch. Boom. Another crack appeared across Nomu's shoulder. The monster grabbed Izuku's jacket. Got you. Rawr. Nomu hurled him toward a concrete wall. Boom. The wall collapsed. Dust covered everything. Shigaraki smiled. Finished. Then, a golden glow appeared inside the smoke. Whoosh. Izuku calmly walked out. His clothes had become dusty. Nothing more. That was a strong throw. Students watching from nearby buildings stared in disbelief. Kirishima whispered, "He isn't injured." Todoroki narrowed his eyes. His endurance. Bakugo grinned. Of course. Nomu attacked relentlessly. Boom. 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 Fists. Knees. Elbows. Each strike carried monstrous force. Izuku answered with pure close combat. He didn't use complicated strategies. He simply fought. Straight punches, hooks, uppercuts, dodges, counters. Every movement resembled an old-school street brawler. Boom, boom, boom. Golden shockwaves erupted with every hit. Nomu's body accumulated more and more cracks. Its regeneration slowed. Shigaraki's smile gradually disappeared. Why isn't Nomu recovering? Kurogiri immediately analyzed the battle. Those attacks, they're bypassing the regeneration itself. Another exchange erupted. Boom. Nomu punched downward. Izuku caught its wrist. Clap. My turn. He twisted. Crack. Nomu's enormous arm bent unnaturally. Before the monster recovered, Izuku spun his body. The roulette wheel suddenly appeared. Click, click, click. The symbols flashed rapidly. God punch. Dragon kick. Home run. Launch kick. Then, ding. New technique unlocked. Divine uppercut. Izuku smiled. Let's try it. Golden flames gathered around his right fist. The ground beneath him cracked. Boom. Nomu roared. Roar. It charged one final time. Izuku stepped forward. Divine uppercut. Boom. His glowing fist struck beneath Nomu's jaw. A massive golden pillar of energy erupted skyward. Nomu's gigantic body left the ground instantly. Whoosh. The monster flew hundreds of meters upward. It smashed through the glass ceiling of the USJ. Crack. Sunlight poured into the arena. Nomu disappeared into the bright sky. Complete silence filled the USJ. Everyone slowly looked upward through the enormous hole. Far above, a tiny black dot continued rising. Shigaraki's fingers trembled. He launched Nomu. Izuku quietly lowered his glowing fist. That should keep him busy. Far beyond the shattered ceiling, Nomu finally reached the highest point of its flight. Then, gravity took hold. The bioengineered monster began falling back toward the USJ. Faster and faster. While below, Izuku calmly waited with his right hand glowing once again, ready to finish the battle with the legendary God Hand. High above the USJ, Nomu's massive body reached the peak of its flight. For a brief moment, everything became completely silent. Then, whoosh, gravity pulled the bioengineered monster downward. Its enormous body tore through the air. Flames surrounded it from friction. Boom. The entire USJ shook as Nomu descended like a living meteor. Students looked upward. It's coming back. Look out. Shigaraki slowly smiled again. Good. Finish him. Roar. Nomu landed in the center of the plaza. Boom. The impact shattered the ground. Cracks spread across the entire rescue facility. Dust engulfed everything. When the smoke cleared, Nomu slowly stood once more. Its broken jaw had regenerated. Its twisted arm had recovered. Its empty eyes immediately locked onto Izuku. Roar. It charged. Its speed had increased. Boom. Izuku calmly watched the approaching monster. You're persistent. Aizawa slowly pushed himself upright. Blood covered his face. Midoriya, be careful. All Might's voice suddenly echoed throughout the USJ. I am here. Boom. The entrance exploded open. All Might rushed inside. Every student smiled. All Might, the symbol of peace, immediately saw the battlefield. His smile disappeared. Young Midoriya, he noticed Nomu, then Aizawa, then Shigaraki. So this is the situation. Shigaraki laughed. You're late. Again. All Might stepped forward. Students, leave the rest to me. Izuku quietly shook his head. All Might, let me finish this. All Might looked surprised. Young Midoriya, Izuku smiled. I can do it. Before anyone answered, the roulette wheel appeared. Click, click, click. Its speed became faster than ever before. Golden sparks exploded from every symbol. God punch, dragon kick, launch kick, divine uppercut. Then, the entire wheel turned brilliant gold. Ding. Ultimate technique unlocked. Home run God kick. Another message immediately followed. God charge required. Izuku took a deep breath. Activate. Boom. Blinding golden flames erupted around his body. Lightning danced across his skin. Crack. The entire USJ trembled beneath the pressure. Wind exploded outward. Students instinctively covered their faces. Whoosh. Even All Might's cape fluttered violently. Bakugo grinned. There it is. Todoroki quietly watched. His strongest form. Golden energy continued rising. Izuku's eyes glowed brilliantly. His right arm shimmered. His right leg became covered in golden light. Inside his mind, the mysterious voice calmly announced. God charge complete. Ultimate strike authorized. Nomu roared. Roar. It rushed forward with both fists raised. Boom. The ground exploded beneath every step. Izuku calmly walked toward it. 1 step. 2 steps. Then, he disappeared. Whoosh. Nomu swung. Boom. Its fist struck empty air. The next instant, Izuku appeared directly beneath the monster. He spun once. His glowing right leg became surrounded by a gigantic golden bat-shaped aura. Home run. The entire USJ fell silent. God kick. Boom. His kick struck Nomu squarely in the chest. Instead of a normal impact, a colossal golden shockwave erupted. Crack. The air itself split apart. Nomu's shock absorption activated. Its regeneration activated. Its reinforced muscles activated. None of them mattered. The divine force ignored every layer of defense. Nomu's body launched upward like a baseball struck by an impossible swing. Whoosh. It blasted through the USJ ceiling. Boom. Then through the clouds. Higher. Higher. Students could no longer see it. Only a tiny glowing dot remained. Minutes later, far above the ocean surrounding Musudafu, Nomu finally began falling. It crashed into the sea with an enormous explosion. Boom. A gigantic column of water erupted hundreds of meters into the sky. Massive waves spread across the coastline. The bioengineered monster continued sinking. Deeper. Deeper. Until darkness swallowed it completely. Inside the USJ, complete silence remained. Izuku slowly lowered his leg. The golden flames faded. Whoosh. His breathing became slightly heavier. It's over. Shigaraki stared through the massive hole in the ceiling. Nomu was defeated. His hands trembled with rage. Retreat. Kurogiri immediately opened a portal. Whoosh. Understood. Before leaving, Shigaraki looked directly at Izuku. Green-haired hero, I'll remember you. The remaining villains quickly disappeared into the swirling darkness. Whoosh. The portal closed. Silence returned to the USJ. All Might slowly walked toward Izuku. He looked through the enormous hole leading into the bright blue sky. Then back at the smiling boy. Young Midoriya. That final kick. Izuku scratched the back of his head. It just felt right. All Might laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. Splendid. Aizawa sighed while sitting against a broken pillar. Another facility destroyed. Present Mike looked around at the countless shattered walls. Yeah, but the villains lost. Recovery Girl shook her head after arriving with medical staff. You children really don't know how to keep buildings intact. The class laughed together. For the first time since entering U.A., every student understood one undeniable truth. Izuku Midoriya did not possess a quirk. Instead, his legendary right arm carried a divine power capable of turning every battlefield into the stage of the most outrageous street fight in hero society. Weeks passed after the USJ incident. Security around U.A. became much stricter. Despite everything, the annual U.A. Sports Festival would continue. Inside the waiting room, students adjusted their uniforms while thousands of spectators filled the stadium. The crowd roared with excitement. All Might smiled. Today, the next generation of heroes will shine. Present Mike jumped onto the stage. Welcome everyone. The stadium erupted. Boom. Izuku quietly looked around. There are so many people. Uraraka smiled. Don't be nervous. Bakugo cracked his neck. I'm winning. Todoroki silently stared at the arena. The first event soon appeared on the giant screen. Obstacle race. Present Mike raised one hand. Ready. Start. Boom. The gates opened. Students rushed forward. Bakugo exploded into the lead. Iida sprinted beside him. Todoroki immediately froze the entire path. Crack. Hundreds of students slipped across the ice. Whoa, Watak out. Izuku smiled. Pretty clever. He stepped onto the frozen road. Instead of slowing down, he accelerated. His footsteps barely touched the ice. Whoosh. He passed dozens of students within seconds. Bakugo noticed. Deku. He launched several explosions backward. Boom. Boom. Izuku casually slapped the explosions aside. Smack. Boom. Golden shockwaves scattered the blasts into the sky. The audience gasped. He hit explosions with his hand. Ahead, the zero-pointer robots blocked the course. Students panicked. Again, Izuku simply kept running. The roulette wheel appeared. Click, click, ding. God punch selected. Excuse me. Boom. One punch shattered the first zero-pointer. Another punch destroyed the second. Boom. Boom. Metal fragments flew everywhere. He never slowed down. Minutes later, the land mines appeared. Bakugo laughed. Perfect. Boom. His explosions launched him across the field. Izuku quietly looked down. Too many mines. The roulette wheel spun once more. Click, click, ding. Home run selected. He picked up a loose steel beam. This should work. Golden light covered the beam. He swung. Smack. A powerful shockwave swept across the field. Instead of hitting the mines, the pressure launched Izuku himself over the entire minefield. Whoosh. He landed safely near the finish line. The audience erupted. Amazing. He skipped the whole section. Izuku crossed the finish line first. Beep. Present Mike shouted. First place. Izuku Midoriya. Cheers echoed across the stadium. The second event began. The cavalry battle. Many students immediately surrounded Izuku. Team with me. He has the most points. Izuku eventually formed a team with Uraraka, Tokiyami, and Mei Hatsume. The battle quickly became chaotic. Boom. Teams collided from every direction. Bakugo attacked repeatedly. Todoroki created massive ice walls. Izuku calmly protected his teammates. Whenever someone got too close, he lightly tapped them. Tap. Boom. Another team flew backward. Tap. Boom. Another group rolled across the arena. Mei laughed happily. This is fun. The timer finally reached 0. Izuku's team remained untouched. The tournament bracket appeared. One battle after another finished. Izuku advanced easily. He never seriously injured anyone. Most opponents surrendered after one strange technique. One student received a harmless spank. Another was launched by home run. Another spun through the air after launch kick. The audience laughed constantly. Even professional heroes smiled. Present Mike shouted. Midoriya's fighting style is unbelievable. Midnight laughed. It's ridiculous. Finally, the championship match arrived. Izuku Midoriya versus Shoto Todoroki. The stadium became silent. Present Mike raised both hands. Begin. Boom. Massive glaciers erupted from Todoroki. Crack. The entire arena froze instantly. Spectators gasped. Izuku calmly walked forward. His footsteps echoed across the ice. Todoroki frowned. You're not attacking. I'm waiting. For what? Your full strength. Todoroki remained silent. Then, red flames erupted from his left side. Boom. Fire and ice covered the arena. The temperature changed violently. Spectators shielded their faces. Izuku smiled. That's better. The roulette wheel appeared. Click, click, ding. God combo unlocked. Golden light surrounded both fists. Let's go. Whoosh. He disappeared. Todoroki's eyes widened. Fast. Boom. The first punch landed against Todoroki's ice wall. Crack. The glacier exploded. Boom. The second punch scattered the flames. Boom. The third strike shattered another barrier. Izuku continued moving. Left, right, forward, backward. His fists became countless golden afterimages. Boom. 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 Every punch created another shockwave. Ice shattered continuously. Flames dispersed before reaching him. The audience could no longer follow. All they saw were endless golden flashes and collapsing glaciers. Todoroki desperately created more ice. Crack. Another wall rose. Boom. Izuku's punch destroyed it instantly. Fire surged forward. Boom. Another punch split the flames apart. Within seconds, the entire battlefield had become clear again. Todoroki stood frozen. His attacks had all disappeared. Izuku smiled politely. Good match. He gently tapped Todoroki's shoulder. Tap. A tiny golden shockwave pushed Todoroki backward. He slid outside the arena. Beep. Midnight raised one flag. Winner. Izuku Midoriya. The stadium exploded into cheers. Boom. Thousands of spectators stood. Heroes applauded. Students stared in disbelief. Bakugo clicked his tongue. Damn it. All Might smiled proudly. Well done. Aizawa quietly watched his student standing at the center of the arena. Still smiling. Still humble. Yet completely unstoppable. Present Mike lifted the championship trophy high into the air. You're U.A. Sports Festival Champion. Izuku Midoriya. Golden confetti rained from above. The crowd continued cheering. And throughout Hero Society, people began remembering one new name. The boy whose impossible golden right hand had conquered the greatest stage of U.A. without relying on a single quirk. Night fell over Musudafu. The city celebrated the end of the sports festival. Television stations replayed Izuku's championship victory. Children copied his strange fighting poses. Heroes discussed the mysterious golden right arm. Inside a dark warehouse, another television quietly played the final match. A lone figure watched in silence. His face remained hidden beneath a black hood. Only one thing was visible. His left arm, wrapped in ancient crimson chains. Golden sparks from the television reflected across countless black seals. So, the god hand has awakened again. He slowly stood. Crack. The chains trembled. Dark crimson light leaked through the cracks. After all these years, he removed one chain. Boom. An overwhelming pressure filled the warehouse. His left arm looked completely different from a normal human arm. Black markings covered every finger. Dark red veins pulsed beneath the skin. Long black claws slowly extended. A sinister voice echoed inside his mind. Target confirmed. God hand detected. The hooded man smiled. Finally, I found you. He slowly whispered the arm's true name. Devil hand. Boom. Every window inside the warehouse shattered. The next morning, U.A. returned to normal classes. Students continued congratulating Izuku. Kirishima laughed. Champ. Kaminari grinned. You've become famous. Mina smiled. Everyone's talking about your punches. Izuku scratched his head. It's embarrassing. Bakugo snorted. Don't get cocky. Before another argument started, Aizawa entered the classroom. Today's lesson is cancelled. Everyone looked surprised. Why? Aizawa calmly placed several newspapers on the desk. Every front page showed the same headline. Multiple villains defeated overnight. Unknown vigilante strikes again. The accompanying photographs showed unconscious criminals lying across rooftops. None appeared seriously injured. Every weapon had been completely destroyed. Kirishima blinked. One person did all this. Aizawa nodded. Possibly. The police found something unusual. He placed another photograph onto the board. Students leaned closer. Deep claw marks covered solid concrete. Burned black symbols surrounded every impact point. Izuku quietly stared. For some reason, his right hand suddenly felt warm. Whoosh. Golden markings briefly appeared beneath his skin. What? Inside his mind, the mysterious voice spoke. Warning. Opposite authority detected. Devil hand resonance confirmed. Izuku froze. Devil hand. The roulette wheel suddenly appeared by itself. Click, click, click. Its golden light flickered. For the first time, a second wheel briefly appeared behind it. Black, covered with crimson flames. Then, it disappeared. Izuku quietly looked at his hand. What was that? That evening, Izuku walked home alone. The streets remained crowded. Shops were still open. People happily discussed the sports festival. Suddenly, the streetlights flickered. Buzz, buzz. The surrounding air became strangely cold. Pedestrians looked around nervously. Did the power go out? That's strange. Whoosh. A dark figure silently landed on the roof of a nearby building. His crimson eyes immediately locked onto Izuku. There you are. Izuku instinctively looked upward. Their eyes met, for only a second. Yet, his entire body became tense. Who? The hooded man slowly raised his left hand. Black energy spread across the rooftop. Boom. The nearby walls cracked. Cars shook violently. Pedestrians screamed, "Villain! Run!" People scattered in every direction. Izuku stepped forward instead. Who are you? The stranger slowly lowered his hood. He appeared only a few years older than Izuku. Black hair, crimson eyes, and an expression filled with confidence. His left arm radiated overwhelming darkness. My name no longer matters. Only this. He slowly opened his left hand. Black flames erupted around it. Boom. The devil hand. Izuku's eyes widened. His own right arm immediately responded. Golden light burst through his sleeve. Whoosh. The two powers resonated. Golden lightning. Black flames. They collided without either of them moving. Crack. The street beneath them split apart. Windows shattered. Traffic lights exploded. People watched from a distance in complete disbelief. The mysterious man smiled. Good. It recognizes me too. Izuku clenched his glowing fist. What do you want? The stranger slowly pointed toward the god hand. Your right arm. When the god hand and devil hand become one, absolute power will awaken. Izuku shook his head. I'm not giving you anything. The stranger laughed softly. I wasn't asking. Boom. Black flames exploded beneath his feet. He vanished instantly. Whoosh. Before Izuku could react, the devil hand appeared inches from his face. Its black claws reached toward the god hand. Clang. Golden light erupted automatically. The two legendary arms collided. A massive shockwave exploded through the street. Boom. Buildings trembled. Cars slid backward. The sky itself seemed to split between brilliant gold and deep crimson. Both fighters remained motionless. Their hands locked together. Their eyes met. The mysterious user of the devil hand smiled. Excellent. This will be fun. He suddenly leapt backward. Whoosh. Without another word, he disappeared into the night. The black flames faded. The street became silent once again. Izuku slowly lowered his glowing right hand. Inside his mind, the mysterious voice echoed one final time. Primary enemy identified. Devil hand successor located. Prepare for divine conflict. Izuku looked toward the empty rooftop where the stranger had stood. For the first time since receiving the god hand, he had encountered another power that felt equal to his own. And somewhere within the shadows of Musudafu, the user of the devil hand quietly smiled. The hunt for the legendary right arm had finally begun. After the sports festival, the first-year students began their hero internships. Each student selected a professional hero agency. Izuku stood before the recommendation board. Grand Tory number, Edgeshot, Gunhead, Death Arms. Many invitations had arrived after the festival. All Might quietly approached him. Young Midoriya, I have someone in mind. Izuku looked up. Really? All Might nodded. His name is Ingenium. He's an experienced hero. I believe you'll learn a great deal from him. Izuku smiled. Thank you. Days later, Hosu City. The streets remained busy despite the recent increase in villain activity. Ingenium welcomed Izuku with a smile. Welcome. Today we'll focus on patrol work. Izuku bowed politely. I'm looking forward to working with you. The day passed peacefully. They helped civilians, stopped several thieves, rescued a child trapped inside an elevator. Everything seemed ordinary, until night fell. Whoosh! The atmosphere changed. Sirens echoed across the city. Boom! A massive explosion sounded several blocks away. A police officer ran toward the heroes. Multiple hero attacks. Several pros are down. Ingenium's expiration became serious. Stay close. Something isn't right. Izuku nodded. Yes. They rushed toward the scene. Deep inside a narrow alley. Blood stained the pavement. Several defeated heroes lay unconscious. One figure slowly walked between them. A long sword rested across his shoulder. His face was covered with scars. Red eyes calmly watched the darkness. Hero killer Stain. False heroes. Pathetic. Nearby, Tenya Iida rushed into the alley. Stain. His eyes burned with anger. You're the one who crippled my brother. Stain slowly turned. Revenge. How disappointing. Boom. Iida charged forward. Recipro burst activated. His kick aimed directly at Stain. Whoosh. Stain disappeared. Too slow. His blade flashed. Clang. Iida barely blocked. Another slash followed. Clang. Sparks flew across the alley. Stain moved like flowing water. Precise. Silent. Deadly. Within seconds, Iida had received multiple cuts. GH. Stain calmly licked the blood from his blade. Your blood. Accepted. Iida suddenly froze. His body refused to move. What? I can't. Stain smiled. Blood curdle. Stay there. He slowly raised his sword. Your lesson ends now. Before the blade descended. Boom. A powerful golden shockwave exploded behind him. The entire alley trembled. Stain immediately jumped backward. Whoosh. Izuku landed between Stain and Iida. Iida. Ingenium quickly rushed toward his student. Are you all right? Iida struggled. My body won't move. Stain quietly examined the newcomer. The sports festival champion. Interesting. Izuku slowly stepped forward. You're under arrest. Stain laughed softly. Try. He dashed forward. Whoosh. His sword flashed toward Izuku's neck. Instead of dodging, Izuku calmly raised his right hand. Clap. His fingers closed around the blade. Clang. The alley fell silent. Stain's eyes widened. What? He pulled harder. Nothing happened. The sword remained trapped between Izuku's fingers. Impossible. Izuku smiled politely. Nice sword. Crack. A tiny golden spark appeared. Then, crack. The blade shattered into dozens of pieces. Metal fragments scattered across the alley. Stain stared at the broken hilt. You broke it. Ingenium also froze. He crushed the blade with his fingers. Stain immediately threw several knives. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Izuku casually flicked each one aside. Ting, ting, ting. Every knife embedded harmlessly into nearby walls. Stain leapt backward. His expiration remained calm, but his heartbeat accelerated. That right arm. It isn't a quirk. Izuku slowly walked forward. Correct. It's the god hand. At that moment, golden light spread across his right arm. Whoosh. The roulette wheel appeared. Click, click, click. Its symbols rotated rapidly. God punch. Dragon kick. Home run. Spank. Divine uppercut. Then, ding. New technique unlocked. God straight punch. Izuku blinked. Another one. Stain quietly lowered his broken sword. Show me the conviction behind your power. Golden energy gathered around Izuku's fist. The alley trembled. Boom. The battle between the hero killer and the successor of the god hand had only just begun. Golden energy illuminated the narrow alley. Whoosh. Izuku stood calmly with his glowing right fist. Across from him, Stain lowered the broken remains of his sword. His crimson eyes never left the god hand. Interesting. Show me your resolve. Izuku nodded. All right. Boom. Both rushed forward simultaneously. Stain's speed exploded. Even without his sword, he remained a deadly fighter. He pulled several combat knives from beneath his cloak. Whoosh. The blades flashed toward Izuku's chest. Ting. 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 Izuku casually deflected every knife with 2 fingers. Golden sparks scattered through the alley. Stain immediately spun. His elbow struck toward Izuku's face. Boom. Izuku leaned backward. The attack barely missed. Stain followed with a kick. Whoosh. Izuku sidestepped. Another punch. Another dodge. The alley echoed with rapid exchanges. Boom. 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 Their movements became almost invisible. Ingenium watched while supporting Iida. Incredible. Midoriya is matching him. Iida slowly clenched his fists. Come on. Stain smiled during the exchange. Good. Your reactions aren't borrowed. They're yours. Izuku answered with a straight punch. Boom. Stain narrowly avoided it. The shockwave shattered the wall behind him. Crack. Pieces of concrete fell around them. Stain laughed. Excellent. But strength alone doesn't create heroes. He suddenly leapt backward. His voice echoed through the alley. Heroes have become celebrities. They chase money, fame, recognition. Only true conviction deserves the title of hero. Izuku quietly listened. Stain continued walking forward. They wear smiles, yet their hearts are empty. They've forgotten what heroes should be. The hero killer raised one finger. Remember this. Only those willing to sacrifice everything deserve admiration. Izuku scratched the back of his head. Are you finished? Stain blinked. What? Your speech. Are you done? Silence filled the alley. Ingenium slowly covered his face. Iida looked completely speechless. Stain frowned. You interrupted me. Izuku smiled awkwardly. Sorry, but I think talking can wait until after you're arrested. The roulette wheel suddenly appeared. Click, click, click. Its symbols glowed brightly. God punch. Dragon kick. Home run. God straight punch. Then, ding. God straight punch selected. Golden light erupted around Izuku's entire right arm. Whoosh. Here I come. Stain immediately rushed forward. Then prove yourself. Before Stain completed another step, Izuku vanished. Whoosh. Stain's eyes widened. Fast. Izuku appeared directly before him. His right hand opened. Smack. The first slap landed across Stain's left cheek. Hop. Stain's head snapped sideways. Before he recovered. Smack. Another slap struck from the opposite direction. Hop. What? Smack. 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 Golden afterimages surrounded Stain. Every slap produced a tiny golden shockwave. Hop. 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 The attacks became impossibly fast. Left. Right. Left. Right. His head bounced back and forth. His feet never left the ground. Spectators couldn't even count the strikes anymore. Ingenium blinked repeatedly. I can't follow them. Iida stared silently. It's just slaps. Stain desperately tried to counter. Every punch hit empty air. Every kick missed. Smack. Hop. Smack. Hop. His face became completely dizzy. Stop. Smack. Moving. Hop. Around. Smack. Already. Boom. Izuku finally finished the combo with one gentle palm strike to the forehead. Tap. A small golden shockwave erupted. Whoosh. Stain spun through the air several times before landing flat on his back. Boom. The alley became completely silent. His eyes slowly rolled upward. He fainted instantly. Izuku quietly looked down. That worked. The roulette wheel disappeared. Whoosh. Ingenium slowly approached. He looked at the unconscious hero killer. Then at Izuku. You defeated him. Using slaps. Izuku rubbed the back of his head. The technique chose itself. Iida finally regained control of his body. He slowly stood. Midoriya. Thank you. Izuku smiled. Friends help each other. Police sirens echoed nearby. Weo. Weo. Heroes quickly arrived at the alley. Manual. Native. Several police officers. They immediately secured Stain with specialized restraints. One officer stared at the shattered walls. What happened here? Ingenium smiled faintly. A student ended the fight. The officer looked toward Izuku. With those explosions. Ingenium shook his head. Number. With his right hand. High above the city. Inside a nearby abandoned building. A familiar hooded figure silently watched everything. His crimson eyes focused on Izuku. His left arm radiated black energy. The devil hand user slowly smiled. Your god hand has grown stronger. He quietly turned away. Good. Our next battle will be even more entertaining. Whoosh. Black flames swallowed his figure. He disappeared into the darkness. Below, Izuku never noticed. His greatest enemy had been watching the entire battle from beginning to end. 3 days had passed since the battle in Hosu City. Stain had been captured. The news spread across Japan. Every television station replayed the footage of the hero killer's defeat. Most of the recordings showed only flashes of golden light. The cameras had failed to capture Izuku's true speed. Inside U.A., life gradually returned to normal. Yet something had changed. Every time Izuku used the god hand, the golden markings spread farther across his arm. They no longer disappeared immediately. Early one morning, Izuku returned to the abandoned construction site where he had first trained. Broken pillars still stood around him. Massive craters remained from his previous sessions. He quietly strutted. I've unlocked so many techniques. But it still feels like something is sealed. Almost immediately, the mysterious voice echoed inside his mind. Affirmative. Izuku blinked. You're answering now. Current synchronization. 91%. Final seal detected. Final seal. Golden symbols suddenly appeared around his right arm. Ancient chains wrapped around his wrist. Clink, clink, clink. Izuku stared. Those weren't here before. The god hand has never revealed its complete power to an unworthy successor. The final trial begins now. Boom. The entire construction site trembled. Golden lightning erupted from the ground. Crack. Before Izuku, a massive circle of light appeared. Whoosh. A human figure slowly stepped out. Green jacket, blue jeans, black hair, confident smile, and a glowing golden right arm. Izuku's eyes widened. You're. The man laughed. Jin, the previous master of the god hand. Izuku froze. The legendary owner. Jin casually scratched his cheek. Looks like the old man really picked you. He slowly raised his glowing fist. But before the final seal breaks, show me you've earned it. Boom. Without warning, Jin disappeared. Whoosh. Izuku barely reacted. Boom. Their fists collided. Golden shockwaves erupted in every direction. Crack. Nearby buildings split apart. Jin grinned. Good. Again. Boom. Another punch. Another collision. Boom. 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 The two exchanged dozens of blows. Every impact shook the entire construction site. Izuku tried God Punch. Boom. Jin answered with the exact same technique. Their shockwaves cancelled each other. Dragon Kick. Roar. Jin matched it perfectly. Home run. Boom. Both attacks collided. A gigantic explosion sent dust into the sky. Izuku landed several meters away. He knows everything. Jin laughed loudly. Of course, I invented half these moves. Izuku smiled. Then I have to get stronger. The roulette wheel suddenly appeared. Click, click, click. For the first time, every technique lit up simultaneously. God Punch, Dragon Kick, Home Run, Launch Kick, Divine Uppercut, God Straight Punch, Spank, Shaolin Kick. Every symbol shined brilliantly. The wheel began spinning faster and faster. until it completely disappeared. Boom. Golden flames erupted around Izuku. Not just around his arm. His entire body glowed. His clothes fluttered wildly. His eyes shone like liquid gold. The ancient chains surrounding the god hand cracked. Crack, crack, crack. Jean smiled proudly. There it is. Break them. Izuku clenched his fist. God hand. Unleash. Boom. The chains exploded into countless golden fragments. Light covered the sky. The pressure flattened the surrounding buildings. Trees bent. Clouds split apart. Golden lightning streaked across the horizon. Inside you. Alarms suddenly activated. Beep. Beep. Power loaders looked toward the sky. What's that energy? Aizawa immediately stood. Midoriya. All Might smiled faintly. He finally did it. Far away. Inside his hidden warehouse. The devil hand user slowly opened his crimson eyes. His left arm began glowing violently. Boom. The seal has broken. He quietly stood. Excellent. Now you're worthy. Back at the construction site. The lights slowly faded. Whoosh. Izuku stood calmly. Golden markings now permanently covered his entire right arm. They no longer flickered. They no longer disappeared. A soft golden aura continuously surrounded him. His breathing remained perfectly normal. He didn't feel exhausted. Instead, his body felt lighter than ever before. The mysterious voice calmly announced. Final seal removed. Full unleashed mode unlocked. God charge no longer consumes stamina. Permanent divine aura established. All previously learned techniques enhanced. Izuku slowly opened and closed his glowing hand. This feels incredible. Jean walked forward with a satisfied smile. Now you've truly become the master. He gently placed his left hand on Izuku's shoulder. From this point onward, the god hand belongs to you. His body slowly dissolved into golden light. Whoosh. Don't embarrass it. Those were his final words. Jean disappeared. Silence returned. Izuku quietly looked at his permanently glowing right arm. Then he smiled. I won't. High above the city, golden light continued shining across the morning sky. Throughout Hero Society, countless people unknowingly witnessed the birth of a new legend. The God Hand had finally awakened in its complete form. And somewhere within the darkness, the user of the Devil Hand smiled as black flames danced around his left arm. Our real battle can finally begin. 2 weeks after the Hosu incident, Hero Society was shaken once again. The League of Villains had launched a surprise attack on the forest training camp. Many students had been injured. One student had been kidnapped. Katsuki Bakugo. Inside the U.A. dormitory, Class 1A sat in complete silence. Hiroshima slammed his fist onto the table. We can't just sit here. Momo lowered her head. The police are already searching. Kaminari clenched his teeth. But what if they're too late? Izuku quietly stood. His permanently glowing right arm illuminated the room. We're bringing him home. Everyone looked toward him. Together. That evening, Hiroshima, Momo, Iida, Todoroki, Kaminari, and Izuku quietly gathered outside the dormitory. Momo projected a map. The villains are hiding inside Kamino Ward. We'll avoid direct combat. Our goal is only rescuing Bakugo. Everyone nodded. Understood. Kamino Ward, an abandoned factory district. Broken warehouses stretched across several streets. Inside one massive building, Bakugo sat restrained. Steel chains wrapped around his arms. Shigaraki stood nearby. Join us. Bakugo smirked. Go to hell. Shigaraki sighed. Still stubborn. Outside, Izuku's group quietly reached the perimeter. Hiroshima pointed toward the building. He's inside. Before anyone moved, multiple hidden traps activated. Click. Boom. Explosive mines erupted across the street. Steel cables shot from nearby rooftops. Poison darts flew from broken windows. Whoosh. Ambush. Iida shouted. The entire alley became a deadly maze. Izuku calmly stepped forward. "Leave it to me." The roulette wheel appeared. Click, 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 ding. New technique unlocked. God dodge. Another notification followed. Automatic evasion activated. Izuku blinked. Automatic. Before another trap reached him. His body moved on its own. Whoosh. He leaned backward. 3 poison darts missed by millimeters. He spun once. A swinging steel blade passed beneath his foot. He casually stepped sideways. Boom. An exploding mine detonated harmlessly behind him. Everyone watched in disbelief. "He isn't even looking," Kirishima whispered. Izuku continued walking. Every movement looked completely ridiculous. He leaned at impossible angles. He casually ducked beneath bullets. He stepped between exploding mines without slowing down. He even twirled once to avoid 2 crossing laser wires. Whoosh. Boom. 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 Every trap failed. Momo blinked repeatedly. His movements don't make any sense. Kaminari laughed. "He looks like he's dancing." Todoroki quietly nodded. Yet he hasn't been touched once. Within less than a minute, Izuku reached the warehouse entrance. The massive steel door blocked the way. He gently knocked. Tap. "Bakugo. We're here." Inside, everyone froze. Bakugo immediately recognized the voice. "Deku." Shigaraki frowned. "Already?" Before anyone reacted, boom, the enormous steel door flew inward. It spun across the warehouse before embedding itself into a concrete wall. Dust filled the room. Whoosh. Izuku calmly walked through the smoke. His golden aura softly illuminated the darkness. "Sorry." The door was locked. Bakugo rolled his eyes. "Idiot." The surrounding villains immediately surrounded Izuku. Spinner drew his sword. Mr. Compress prepared several marbles. Twice created multiple clones. Dabi slowly raised one hand. Blue flames erupted. Boom. "Well, this is troublesome." Izuku smiled. "A little." Dabi fired a wave of blue fire. Boom. The flames engulfed the entrance. Before anyone saw what happened, Izuku casually walked through the fire. His clothes remained untouched. His golden aura dispersed every flame before they reached him. Dabi's eyes narrowed. He walked through it. Spinner rushed forward. His sword slashed downward. Clang. Izuku caught the blade between 2 fingers. Again. Crack. The sword snapped cleanly in half. Spinner froze. "Not this." Smack. A light slap sent Spinner spinning across the warehouse. Boom. He crashed into several crates before fainting. Twice his clones attacked together. "Get him. Surround him." Izuku calmly walked forward. Tap. 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 Every clone vanished after receiving one gentle poke from the god hand. Hop. 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 Mr. Compress threw dozens of marbles. Whoosh. Izuku's body automatically activated God Dodge. He leaned, spun, sidestepped, ducked. Every marble missed. They exploded harmlessly behind him. Boom, boom, boom. Shigaraki slowly clenched his fists. Enough. He stepped forward. "This time, I'll erase you myself." His fingers reached toward Izuku. Whoosh. Before they touched, Izuku's God Dodge activated again. His body shifted slightly. Shigaraki's hand brushed past empty air. "What?" Izuku smiled. "You'll have to be faster." At that exact moment, sirens echoed outside. Weo! Weo! Heroes had arrived. Gran Torino crashed through the ceiling. Boom! Endeavor burst through another wall surrounded by flames. Edgeshot appeared behind several villains. The warehouse instantly descended into chaos. Shigaraki clicked his tongue. Retreat. Kurogiri immediately opened a massive portal. Whoosh. Everyone. Before disappearing, Shigaraki looked directly at Izuku. "Next time, I won't let that right arm interfere." The league vanished into the darkness. The portal closed. Silence slowly returned. Kirishima rushed toward Bakugo. You all right? Bakugo smirked. Took you long enough. Izuku laughed quietly. Welcome back. Outside, the sound of another overwhelming presence approached. Boom, boom, boom. A pressure unlike anything before descended upon Kami number. All Might slowly walked into the ruined district. Far away, inside another abandoned building, the user of the devil hand watched silently. His crimson eyes shifted away from the rescue, toward another figure emerging from the shadows. A man connected to countless life support tubes, his face hidden beneath a black mask. The ruler of the underworld had finally arrived. All for one, the ruined streets of Kamino fell silent. Smoke drifted through the air. Collapsed buildings surrounded the battlefield. Heroes evacuated civilians as quickly as possible. Boom. A lone figure slowly stepped out from the shadows. His body was covered by a black life support suit. Countless tubes extended from his back. His face remained hidden beneath a mechanical mask. All for one. Every pro hero immediately became tense. Gran Torino clenched his fists. He's here. Endeavor ignited his flames. Finally, All Might stepped forward. Stay behind me. Izuku quietly stood beside him. His permanently glowing god hand radiated soft golden light. All for one slowly looked toward Izuku. Interesting. So you're the boy everyone keeps talking about. His gaze settled on the glowing right arm. That arm, it doesn't belong to this world. Izuku calmly nodded. You're right. It's called the God Hand. All for one chuckled. Excellent. I'll take it. Boom. Dozens of quirks activated simultaneously. Air cannon, rivet stab, spring-like limbs, kinetic booster. Multiple shockwaves erupted together. Boom, boom, boom. The entire street disappeared beneath overwhelming force. All Might immediately prepared to intercept. Before he moved, Izuku stepped forward. I'll handle this. His golden aura expanded. Whoosh. The incoming attack struck him directly. Boom. Dust engulfed everything. The heroes watched nervously. Seconds later, the smoke slowly parted. Izuku calmly walked forward. Not a single scratch marked his body. His clothes remained untouched. All for one's mechanical mask tilted slightly. Immunity. How fascinating. He smiled beneath the mask. Then I'll simply steal it. Whoosh. He disappeared. His speed shocked everyone. The next instant, he stood directly before Izuku. His right hand reached toward the God Hand. Mine. Clap. Their hands touched. Silence. Nothing happened. All for one frowned. What? He activated his stealing quirk again. Transfer. Nothing. Again. Take. Still nothing. Inside Izuku's mind, the familiar voice echoed. Foreign theft detected. Divine authority responding. Judgment approved. The golden markings across Izuku's arm suddenly shone brighter than ever before. Boom. A pillar of golden light erupted into the sky. All for one's eyes widened beneath his mask. Impossible. Golden energy surged through the point of contact. Instead of being stolen, the God Hand pushed back. Crack. All for one's stealing quirk shattered. Golden flames raced through his arm. Ah! He immediately jumped backward. Whoosh! Black smoke poured from his right hand. Burn marks spread across his glove. My quirk. It's burning. The heroes stared in disbelief. Gran Torino blinked. Did All for one fail? All Might smiled. Young Midoriya. All for one growled. Again. He activated dozens of quirks together. Gigantic black tendrils burst from the ground. Boom. Massive air cannons fired repeatedly. Boom. Boom. Lightning rained from above. Crack. Izuku calmly walked through everything. God Dodge activated automatically. Whoosh. Every blast narrowly missed. Every tendril struck empty air. Every lightning bolt landed harmlessly behind him. All for one's attacks looked overwhelming. Yet none reached their target. What kind of movement? All for one whispered. Izuku smiled politely. My turn. The roulette wheel appeared. Click, click, click. Its golden symbol spun rapidly. God Punch. Dragon Kick. Home Run. Divine Uppercut. God Straight Punch. Then, ding. God Punch selected. Golden energy wrapped around Izuku's right fist. Whoosh. He disappeared. Boom. Before All for One reacted, Izuku's fist stopped just centimeters from the villain's chest. Too slow. Boom. The punch landed. A massive golden shockwave erupted across Kami number. Crack. Every nearby building shook violently. Windows shattered for hundreds of meters. All for One's protective quirks activated instantly. Impact recoil, kinetic dampening, steel skin, shock absorption, layer after layer. Yet, the God Hand ignored every defense. Crack, crack, crack. One by one, the defensive quirks shattered. Golden light pierced through them effortlessly. All for One's body flew backward. Boom. He crashed through 5 buildings before finally stopping inside the ruins of an abandoned factory. Silence covered Kami number. Dust slowly settled. Heroes looked toward the destroyed factory. Is he finished? Inside the rubble, All for One slowly stood. His breathing had become uneven. Smoke rose from his damaged suit. He looked down at his trembling hands. Several quirks had vanished completely, burned away by the divine energy of the God Hand. This power cannot be stolen. Far away, on top of a ruined skyscraper, the user of the Devil Hand silently watched the entire battle. His crimson eyes narrowed. Interesting. The God Hand rejected even All for One. Black flames slowly wrapped around his left arm. Then only the Devil Hand can truly challenge it. He disappeared into the night. Whoosh. Below, Izuku slowly walked toward the ruined factory. His glowing right hand remained raised. The battle against the greatest villain in history had only just begun. Kamino had become a war zone. Collapsed buildings, burning streets, hero sirens echoed from every direction. Boom. Smoke covered the battlefield where All for One slowly emerged from the ruins. His life support mask was cracked. His breathing had become noticeably heavier. Yet, he continued smiling. Remarkable. You truly possess a power beyond quirks. Izuku calmly faced him. His permanently glowing God Hand illuminated the ruined street. This ends now. All for One laughed. Number. It begins now. Boom. A gigantic vortex of darkness erupted around him. Countless quirks activated simultaneously. Air cannon. Spring-like limbs. Forced quirk activation. Kinetic booster. Multiplier. Heavy payload. Impact recoil. Every stolen ability fused together. The atmosphere shook violently. Crack. Gran Torino's eyes widened. He's combining everything. Endeavor clenched his fists. Everyone get back. All Might immediately stepped forward. Young Midoriya, be careful. All for One slowly raised both hands. Behold, the strongest attack I've ever created. The darkness condensed into a massive sphere. Black lightning erupted from its surface. Boom, boom, boom. The pressure alone crushed nearby vehicles. Roads cracked. Lamp posts bent. Heroes instinctively retreated. This city will disappear. All for One thrust both hands forward. Die. Boom. The colossal black beam erupted across Kami number. Everything before it vanished. Buildings disintegrated. The street melted. The air screamed. Crack. The gigantic attack rushed directly toward Izuku. Everyone held their breath. Izuku quietly closed his eyes. The roulette wheel appeared. Click, click, click. Its speed increased beyond anything before. Every learned technique glowed simultaneously. God Punch. Dragon Kick. Home Run. Launch Kick. Divine Uppercut. God Straight Punch. Shaolin Kick. Spank. The wheel continued spinning. Faster. Faster. Until every symbol merged into one. Ding. Ultimate God Roulette unlocked. 100-fold God Punch authorized. Golden flames erupted around Izuku. Boom. His aura expanded across the battlefield. The incoming black beam slowed. The pressure around Kamino completely changed. Inside Izuku's mind, the familiar voice calmly announced. All limiters removed. Combo sequence initiated. Izuku slowly opened his eyes. They shone like liquid gold. Let's finish this. Whoosh. He vanished. All for One's beam continued forward. Yet Izuku had already crossed through it. His golden aura split the attack in half. Crack. The enormous beam separated into two streams before exploding harmlessly into the sky. Boom. All for One's eyes widened. What? Before he reacted, Izuku appeared directly before him. His glowing fist stopped inches away. First. Boom. The first punch landed. Before All for One moved. Boom. The second followed. Then. Boom. 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 Golden afterimages surrounded the villain. Left. Right. Center. Uppercut. Hook. Straight. Every direction. Every angle. Every punch carried divine force. Boom. 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 All for One desperately activated defensive quirks. Steel skin. Shock absorption. Impact recoil. Force barrier. They shattered instantly. Crack. 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 Impossible. Boom. Another punch. Boom. Another. The attacks accelerated. 10, 20, 30, 40. Golden shockwaves erupted non-stop. The battlefield disappeared beneath endless explosions. Heroes could only watch flashes of light. They could no longer distinguish individual punches. All they heard was an endless rhythm. Boom, 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 boom. 50, 60, 70. All for One's body was lifted into the air. He couldn't even fall. Every new punch struck before gravity worked. 80, 90. The sky itself trembled. Golden lightning spread across Kami number. Every nearby cloud scattered. Then, the final sequence. 100. Boom. The last punch created the largest shockwave yet. A gigantic golden pillar erupted into the heavens. Crack. All for One's body blasted across the city. He smashed through countless buildings before crashing into the mountains beyond Kami number. Boom. Silence. Dust slowly settled. The golden aura around Izuku gradually faded. Whoosh. He calmly lowered his fist. It's over. Far beyond the city, inside the smoking crater, All for One's broken body lay motionless. His life support mask had completely shattered. Countless stolen quirks had vanished. Burned away forever by the divine energy of the God Hand. All Might slowly smiled. Magnificent. Gran Torino stared at the distant mountain. 100 punches. Endeavor quietly exhaled. I couldn't even follow one. Throughout Camino, thousands of civilians watched from rooftops and television broadcasts. Everyone had witnessed the impossible. A quirkless boy had overwhelmed the king of villains using nothing but his legendary divine right hand. High above the battlefield, hidden within the clouds, the user of the devil hand silently watched the aftermath. His crimson eyes narrowed. The ultimate god roulette. Black flames slowly wrapped around his left arm. Then I'll answer it, with the devil's wrath. He disappeared into the darkness. The destined battle between the God Hand and the Devil Hand drew closer than ever before. The smoke above Camino slowly disappeared. Morning sunlight broke through the clouds. The battlefield had become completely silent. Collapsed buildings stretched across the district. Heroes, police officers, and reporters slowly emerged from every direction. At the center of the ruined street, Izuku quietly stood. His right arm continued glowing with a calm golden aura. Far away, inside the massive crater, All for One slowly twitched. His damaged body struggled to rise. His breathing machine had been completely destroyed. Countless support tubes lay scattered around him. His stolen quirks no longer responded. Move, move. Nothing happened. For the first time in decades, All for One felt powerless. He slowly looked toward his trembling right hand. My quirks. They're gone. The divine energy left behind by the God hand continued burning inside his body. Every attempt to activate another quirk ended the same way. Crack. Small golden sparks erased them before they formed. Impossible. My collection, my empire, everything, had vanished. Back in Kamino, All Might slowly approached Izuku. He placed one hand on the young hero's shoulder. Young Midoriya, you've done something no hero believed possible. Izuku smiled sheepishly. I just punched him. Gran Torino burst into laughter. Just punched him. You erased half his arsenal. Endeavor folded his arms. That wasn't a punch. That was a natural disaster. The surrounding heroes quietly nodded. None of them disagreed. Moments later, the police secured the crater. Dozens of officers cautiously surrounded All for One. Their weapons remained aimed at him. Tsukauchi stepped forward. All for One, you're under arrest. All for One slowly laughed. Arrest? By ordinary humans. How amusing. He tried standing once more. Boom. His legs immediately collapsed beneath him. The officers stared. He really can't move. Special restraint devices were attached one after another. Clanked, clanked, clanked. This time, All for One offered no resistance. He simply stared toward the distant figure standing beneath the rising sun. Izuku Midoriya. God hand. I lost. Those words quietly echoed across the ruined battlefield. Television helicopters circled overhead. Their cameras captured everything. Live broadcasts spread throughout Japan. Inside homes, millions of civilians watched silently. That's the student, the sports festival champion. He defeated All for One. Children pointed excitedly at the television. Adults remained speechless. Professional heroes quietly lowered their heads. The impossible had happened. The greatest villain in history had fallen. Inside U.A. dormitory. Class 1A watched the broadcast together. Hiroshima jumped onto a table. He actually did it. Mina laughed happily. That's our classmate. Kaminari grinned. He really punched the strongest villain into next week. Uraraka smiled warmly. That's so like Izuku. Bakugo crossed his arms. Idiot. Despite his words, a small grin briefly appeared on his face. Todoroki quietly looked at the screen. He surpassed everyone's expectations. The following afternoon, a formal ceremony was held outside the rebuilt Kamino district. Thousands of civilians gathered. Reporters filled every rooftop. Flash, flash, flash. Camera lights continuously illuminated the stage. Principal Nezu stepped forward. Today marks the end of an era, and the beginning of another. The crowd applauded. All Might slowly approached the microphone. His muscular form had already begun shrinking. Yet his smile remained unchanged. Heroes exist to protect people's smiles. He turned toward Izuku. Young Midoriya, come here. Izuku awkwardly walked onto the stage. Me. All Might nodded. Today, you deserve everyone's recognition. The audience erupted into cheers. Boom, boom, boom. People repeatedly shouted his name. Midoriya, God Hand, Hero. Children waved homemade green flags. Others raised posters showing a glowing golden fist. Present Mike laughed loudly. Listen to that crowd. Midnight smiled. They've already chosen their new favorite. All Might gently raised Izuku's glowing right arm. From this day forward, Hero Society will remember this young man. Not as a quirkless boy, but as the divine brawler who defeated the king of villains. The applause became deafening. Izuku looked around nervously. This is a little embarrassing. The crowd laughed warmly. Far away, inside an abandoned cathedral hidden beneath Musudafu, black candles flickered. The user of the devil hand silently watched the ceremony through an old television. His crimson eyes never left Izuku. They're celebrating. He slowly clenched his left hand. Black flames erupted. Boom. Enjoy it while you can. The ancient seals covering the devil hand began breaking one after another. Crack, crack, crack. Dark crimson energy flooded the cathedral. The walls trembled violently. Because soon, the true battle begins. His laughter quietly echoed through the darkness. While across Japan, the entire nation celebrated the birth of its newest legend. The hero who conquered the greatest evil with nothing more than a single divine right hand. 1 month after the battle at Camino, Hero Society had begun recovering. The League of Villains had scattered. All for one remained imprisoned inside the highest security facility ever constructed. Peace slowly returned to Japan. Yet, everyone spoke about only one person. Izuku Midoriya, the boy with the glowing golden right hand. Inside U.A., students walked through the hallways as usual. However, whenever Izuku appeared, they immediately waved. Good morning, Midoriya, hero, God hand. Izuku smiled awkwardly. Good morning. Hiroshima laughed. You're a celebrity now. Kaminari grinned. Even first years from other departments know your name. Mina pointed toward a nearby classroom. Look, several support course students had built miniature figures of Izuku performing ridiculous attacks. One figure used God Punch. Another held a baseball bat for home run. Another was frozen mid-spank. Izuku buried his face in his hands. Why did they make that one? Everyone laughed. Later that afternoon, Training Ground Gamma, Class 1A gathered for combat practice. Aizawa calmly addressed the class. Today, everyone fights Midoriya. The students looked at one another. Bakugo smiled confidently. Finally, Todoroki stepped forward. This should be interesting. The class formed a circle. Izuku quietly straightened his shoulders. Please don't be mad afterward. Bakugo exploded forward first. Boom. His right fist shot toward Izuku. Whoosh. God dodge activated automatically. Izuku casually leaned sideways. Bakugo missed. Before he recovered, tap. A gentle poke to the forehead. Pop. Bakugo stumbled backward. Again. Then, Todoroki attacked. Massive ice pillars erupted. Crack. Izuku lightly slapped one. Boom. The entire glacier shattered into glittering fragments. Tokiyami followed. Dark shadow lunged from above. Roar. Izuku smiled. Sorry. Smack. Dark shadow spun through the air before crashing harmlessly into a wall. Uraraka floated dozens of concrete blocks. They rained downward. Whoosh. Izuku calmly walked between every falling object. Not one touched him. Iida activated Recipro Burst. Boom. He charged at maximum speed. God Dodge triggered once again. Izuku casually turned sideways. Iida flew past. Too fast for me. Boom. He crashed into a sand pile. Within 5 minutes, every student sat exhausted across the training field. Izuku remained standing. His breathing stayed perfectly normal. Aizawa quietly nodded. Training complete. Kaminari groaned. He didn't even sweat. That evening, All Might asked Izuku to meet him atop the U.A. observation tower. The sunset painted the sky orange. Gentle wind passed through the city. All Might smiled warmly. Young Midoriya, look. Below them, heroes continued helping civilians. Children played happily. Traffic moved peacefully. Musudafu lived without fear once again. This is what heroes fight for. Izuku quietly nodded. It's beautiful. All Might looked toward the glowing god hand. That power chose the right person. Izuku smiled. I'll keep protecting everyone. Always. All Might laughed proudly. I never doubted it. Far away, inside the abandoned cathedral, the user of the devil hand quietly stood before an ancient stone altar. The final seal covering his left arm shattered. Crack. Black flames erupted toward the ceiling. Boom. The entire cathedral trembled. He slowly looked toward the night sky. Jean's successor. Enjoy your peaceful days. He smiled. Our story has only begun. Whoosh. His body disappeared into black flames. Back at you. Izuku stood alone on the observation tower. The golden aura surrounding his right arm gently illuminated the evening breeze. Children below pointed toward him. Look, it's the God Hand Hero. Izuku waved back with a bright smile. Hello. Their laughter echoed across the campus. Inside his mind, the familiar voice spoke one final time. God Hand synchronization. 100%. All seals permanently removed. Successor acknowledged. Title acquired. The God Hand Hero. The golden markings glowed brilliantly one last time, then settled into a calm, steady light. Izuku looked toward the endless horizon. His journey as a hero had only just begun. Armed with the legendary God Hand, his unwavering determination, and a smile that inspired everyone around him, Izuku Midoriya stepped confidently into the future as the one and only. The God Hand Hero.